Hello, welcome, Shaun. Happy to have you here. Interested for us to learn more about your background, about who you are today, and what got you into the place you have evolved through time. I know you have lots of skill sets. You could name it from a strategic perspective, from an athlete perspective. So lots of many uh, different components
Yeah.
and areas that will help obviously support others on strategic portions, mindset, and how to scale, adopt as well, I guess, technology. So I'm going to pause so you can provide a better introduction and give us an overall review on your background and your professional career too.
Yeah, no, thanks so much. Super excited to talk today and be here. So, yeah, Shaun Bemis. I was 20 years in the Navy, U.S. Navy. So I'm a guy that September 11th happened, September 12th. I'm calling recruiters, trying to figure out where I can go, what I can do. So I worked in intelligence. I did a full 20 years. Thought I would do 4 years and get out and kind of do my thing, but ended up a full career, normal Navy stuff. Some national security things, and then my second half of my career was with the SEAL teams, supporting those guys. So from there, went on and worked with a Danish startup. I was the lone American, so completely different from what I was doing, where it was all Americans and all of this compartmented things. And here I am as the only American, working with a bunch of folks that are in Europe, and just really cool things, working in operations, doing some really cool stuff. Along the way, I've worked with a couple of sports consulting firms. I coach youth soccer even while I was in the Navy, at a decently high level. So spent some time in that world. And most recently, I've been doing some consulting, business operations, helping companies scale, grow, optimize their processes, things like that. So
Amazing. Okay, so lots for us to cover on our discussion today, and interesting to learn how from the different places you've been experiencing and learning, you have evolved, and now you're helping others to scale, to set up proper operational foundations, and obviously innovation too. So one of the things I'd like to ask you is what's the role that technology AI plays right now from an operational standpoint, innovational side of things or innovations, and then how do you see it playing and supporting your clients? I know sometimes that can apply perfectly to certain industries and niches, and at other times it could be something that it's harder or has more risks to.
yeah, no, I that's a super interesting question. And one thing I really like to do with all my clients is like not go in and just pull off the last project that I did and just be like, all right, I'm going to apply it here. So, you go into some companies and they're super tech savvy, and they've got developers and coders and they're all over it. And it really is a matter of sometimes almost slowing them down and being like, hey, like you're moving a little fast with the AI. Let's make sure this works. Let's make sure this is optimized before we continue and move forward. I've had other clients and where they actually are afraid of the AI. They haven't done anything with it. And now it's, everything is evolving so rapidly that they don't know where to even start. And so they're afraid to implement anything. And so like I had one client who was sending like 20-page applications to folks and having them print, handwrite their answers, scan it back in, having their assistant then take those, hand type them into an Excel sheet, like it, and I was like, just some very simple solutions for them, which to be honest, I wouldn't even consider AI, but because of AI, they are afraid to do anything to modernize it all because they just don't know they don't know what they don't know. So yeah, it's really super interesting when you talk to the different clients and where they're at in the different stages of utilizing AI.
Okay, thank you. And possibly, I know one of the key things for you to review when implementing or helping with adoption, it can be technology or AI, it's having a proper like foundations and knowing what's their risk tolerance. Would that be a couple of things you take into consideration?
For sure. Again, so it's all about, getting to know those teams and figuring out, it's very similar to investing, right? Where like my wife and I, we've got our financial advisor, and we have two pots of money, which really are the same pot of money. But like for me, I'm very like, hey, I'm still young, right? At least I feel young. So like, let's go, let's be aggressive. Let's try to maximize our returns today. Where my wife, on the other hand, who's actually younger than me, is like, no, like, I just want to make sure there's steady growth and like we're not losing money and everything is still okay and still there. So, there are times you walk into a company and you've got, say, the CEO and the COO, and like they may have those different risk tolerances. And it's, really getting to know them, what they're comfortable with. Because also as a consultant, if I go in and I'm like, hey, you guys are primed to be super aggressive with technology, so let's optimize your stack, let's bring in all these different tools. And they're just like, the second I walk away, they're like, erase everything, like get it all off the system. We don't want, and it's a waste of their money. It's a waste of my time. I'm not going to get referrals from them. Like, it doesn't do anyone any good. So when I have clients like that, like literally one of the guys was like, it was a type form solution. Like there's no AI, but it was like, hey, have your onboarding clients come in and fill out a type form. And that was the solution they needed. That was it. That was all they needed. And they were able to increase revenue by 3%, or times 3, just by getting more clients in, because they optimize things just a tiny bit. So yeah, it's all about getting to know the team, what their risk tolerance is and what they're comfortable with.
I think that's great. What you just mentioned is assessing how they are performing, getting data in place, and then realizing what's the best solution that will help them move the needle, rather than to going back and from scratch trying to do everything and probably blow their operations and even
Yes.
their zone of comfort. So I think that's a great approach. Good to note. Other things that will be interesting to learn from your experience and your background. I know you've done ultra marathons. So what have you learned from that, from probably the resilience, mindset, and other things that I am not aware, or I don't know because I've never done one? What have you learned from it, and how do you apply it to help others?
Yeah. I mean, I think the biggest thing that's really the most applicable to what we were talking about is like to prepare for an ultra marathon. Like my last race, it was a 75-kilometer race in Tanzania on Mount Kilimanjaro, 10,000 feet of gain. There was just a lot. And I live in Miami, where it's flat as can be. Like the conditions could not be more different. And so I had to come up with a plan, right? And so I had that end state, I had that end goal, and then I had to plan backwards, and I had to figure out. And I mean, I was that like lunatic that was running in parking garages, that like, people are looking at me like I'm just crazy, but I'm just running because I needed to find a hill, and we don't have hills down here. And it's the same in business, where you find that end goal and then you plan backwards to develop your processes. And what do we need to do? How do we stack those bricks to be able to get there? I think the next piece of that, as you mentioned, is kind of resiliency, adaptability. I mean, adaptability, kind of goes in hand with that. But when you've got these big audacious goals, like, and I tend to do this, sign up for things and then kind of realize what I've done. So my next big thing is I just signed up for an Ironman Lake Placid. I don't own a bike. My swim, like I'm comfortable in the water, but it's like it's the combat side stroke. It's not the crawl. So I have to learn a technique, or at least optimize it. And I start talking to people and they're like, man, that bike is one of the hardest bikes in all of Ironman. There's a lot of hills. So here I am again, where I live in a place with no hills, and I have signed up for a race where people say that's one of the hardest parts about it is the hills and the climbing. So I have to figure that out. And early in my training, like I'll tell you, actually, I literally started last week. I got in the pool and I'm probably 20 minutes in the pool, and I already start thinking, how can I get out of this commitment? And I've signed up with like a military organization. I'm fundraising for charity. Like, so it's not just for me. And I'm literally though going through the motions in the pool and being like, how can I get out of this? And again, in business, you set these goals and, you're like, hey, we want to have X amount of revenue by the end of the quarter. And 2 weeks in, you're looking around, you're like, guys, we're never going to make it. Like we have blown, it's already lost. It's already gone. Let's blow it all up. And instead, what you don't realize is as long as the process is right and you're doing the right things, the wins will come. It'll happen. And maybe you won't quite hit that goal, but it's still going to be higher than what you were going to do without the process. It's still better than if you blow up the process every 2 weeks because you've not seen the gains that you wanted. And so when you have a good process, when you're disciplined, not motivated, disciplined, because it's super easy. Like right now I am motivated. Like I literally got off the bike, jumped in the pool real quick to stop sweating. And now I'm here with you. Like finding that time is like, I'm super motivated right now. I promise you in like 2 months, I'm going to look at my bike and be like, I don't want to get on that thing. Like, I don't want to do it again. Like not today. And it's the discipline, right? And so there's going to be days in business, you're an analyst who's going to have to report to the COO about certain metrics. And you're gonna be like, I don't want to do it. Like the metrics aren't good. I'm tired. Like, I don't want to do these analytics. Like I would rather be doing anything else. And it's having the discipline to actually go through the data and provide a good product to your team with good analysis. That's what helps winning teams. And that's one of the biggest lessons I've brought from endurance athletics is just stacking those bricks. And I like to say left foot, right foot. Like that's the key to ultra marathons. It's not about speed. Like, 99.9% of the people that do ultra marathons are not pros. So it's not about speed. And literally, like, no one asks what your time was unless they're also an ultra runner. Like no one cares. They're like, you just ran 50 miles, you ran 100 kilometers. Like usually the question is what's wrong with you, not how fast did you go? And so it's just a matter of left foot, right foot, just forward progress, it continuously delaying how long you just sit and don't move forward, and just being smart about the times when you have maximum output and when you're in recovery, even during a race, even during your sprints, even during, a quarter, there's a time to slow down and there's a time to speed up.
Oh, I love that. That's a great metaphor and a great approach. And it makes sense on how this discipline, as you mentioned, makes a total difference rather than switching gears and making changes all the time just because you think things
Yeah.
are not going as well, because that can happen, obviously, but it's just being consistent, being disciplined, and then you'll see the results. It's just that compounding effect, and sometimes it can take longer. There's other factors that we cannot control, right?
Right.
So I did, maybe you're aware or you know about Hyrox, which is
Yes.
kind of popular lately. That's the one that I've done, not the
Love it.
marathon or the Ironman. I want to do an Ironman, but well, let's see if I can be as
Yeah.
brave as you.
Just sign.
And
That's the hardest part.
okay,
Just sign
sign.
up. Yes.
That's the other thing you have, like that's the good thing of setting goals, right? From a professional standpoint or a business perspective, if you have set goals, they're ambitious probably, but if you do not find yourself accountable and committed to, okay, maybe level up, go above and beyond your comfort zone, then you will not see results. Or if you keep doing the same thing you have done over and over, most likely you'll have the same results.
Right.
So it's totally on point, makes lots of sense. And the other thing is maybe a bit relatable into technology. As we were discussing, you might have the latest and greatest technology in place, but if you do not have the business acumen, you do not have some of that supporting foundational skill sets or knowledge, then you will not be able to perform or make the best use out of it going into that bike, right? You have your bike and maybe it can be the best out in the market, but it's not because it's the best one you'll be winning if you don't train and if you don't do the things you have to do beforehand.
No, I absolutely love that. So going back to my race in Tanzania where it was, and I wish I knew the meters, it's about 14,000 feet. I believe it's over 3,000 meters is where we topped out, and the air gets real thin up there. And so I'm at sea level. How do I train? And so I dug into science, and I found there's science behind training at elevation and training in heat being transferable. So again, you want to talk about a lunatic, like some of those parking garage runs, I am in long pants, a hoodie, like at lunchtime in June in Miami. But when I got on the mountain, I am the only person that did that race that did not get a headache, dizzy, nauseous. like I slowed down, but I was slow, just like running at lunch in a hoodie in Miami. And so, to your point, right? Finding those foundational things that can make you better, right? Those tricks that can, I don't even want to say tricks, but those fundamental things that can make you better at data analytics, at, at AI, right? Like AI is changing so fast. What you knew last year honestly isn't really applicable this year with how quickly things are moving. And so keeping up with the latest science, endurance sports is finding a lot about high carbs right now. And so there's a lot like we used to say train fasted. So you would wake up and just go. And that was the theory, was like you would teach your body to burn fat and you'd be able to go longer. And now science has caught up and we're like, that's one of the dumbest things we've ever heard. Like you don't get in your car with no gas and drive. Like, why would you have your body moving without fuel? So like, no, get carbs in you, like load up and train your body, train your gut to take those in while you're moving, which I promise you is a skill in and of itself, because if you've never tried to like eat a meal after 10 hours of running, like it's not easy, and it typically doesn't go well unless you've trained your body to do those things. So it's the same in business as in endurance. Like that's a great point. Is there those foundational things that you have to keep up with in order to optimize what you're doing?
Great, thank you. I love how certain things you do outside from a professional perspective are really transferable skills and can help you as well drive results and become I'm my theory, and I'll see if you are on the same page that I am. I find high performers or athletes in this case, or persons that really people that go and push themselves uh, above and beyond the regular things
Mhm.
normally excel as well in other areas in their life. So that's one of the theories I have. By no means I'm saying others won't, but I think if you are doing this, specifically like the ultra marathons or other things that really push above your level of comfort and get you into having the doing things that are well suited with your body, with your physical wellness, let's say in this case, because
Yeah.
I know there's other components that we can deep dive into, like mental health or mindfulness or other things. But physically, talking about physical challenges, I find when you are challenged physically in a good way, it helps you as well, like push on other areas in your life, which is amazing how it can be um, changed or moved from one area of your life into other components.
No, I 100% agree. Like the more fit I am, the more when I'm in a training block, and there is a time to step back, but like I'm better at work. I'm more in tune to what's going on. I'm a better father and husband. Like I'm more present. I appreciate the time I have with my kids more because I know like, hey, I got to go squeeze in something somewhere, right? And it potentially takes away from them. So yeah, I 100% agree that like the discipline to do all those things well, and it comes in seasons, right? Like there will be time during this Ironman prep where like my wife is going to have to carry the load with the kids a little bit. Like there are times where like they're going to wake up and dad's going to be on a run. But then there's other times where like when I'm not, like right now, I'm not in a big prep, right? Like I'm in that base building thing and I have time for the kids. I have more time to do some of these other things. And it comes in seasons, but it makes you better during all of those aspects. So
Great. And one of the things I wanted to mention or highlight that I forgot with so many topics that I'm enjoying
yeah,
right now with you is on your LinkedIn. I know you have like the Ultra Mondays, which I love that theme.
thank you.
We're going to be sharing the link to your LinkedIn profile for anyone who's interested and to follow you. But yeah, I love how you work on this Ultra Monday, and it's part of like you're expecting something from Shaun's um, LinkedIn profile, and Monday something's coming up that will be motivational, that will help drive things, and will also share what's your overall let's say style, way of working, communicating, and pushing others to achieve greatness.
Yeah, no, I really appreciate that. And I'm actually trying to do a little bit more. I'm trying to be a little more intentional about my Substack. And then I've actually like literally last week started Instagram for really more of the endurance stuff. So I can just share a little bit more of my journey of, just an average person who signed up for some dumb race that is not easy. And how do you balance all that and do all those things? So yeah, I mean, I appreciate hearing that. And, I kind of feel that if one person gets something out of it, in fact, actually just this week, I was able to, there was a guy I connected with and his son is talking about going to the Marines. And he had hit me up and was like, hey, would you talk to my son? I'm like, more than happy to. And so like that, just me being present on LinkedIn and having the opportunity to talk to somebody's kid about the good and the bad about the military, it makes it all worth it.
Yes, that's totally true. I've been experiencing along those lines. Sometimes I'm just posting things, trying to provide value, share knowledge, ideas with others, and I've received messages from people that maybe I haven't seen or talked to in a while, but it's like, okay, I know this, my sister or someone really is interested into this topic. I would like to connect you with her or him. And
Right.
then like lots of great conversations happen. So it's good that we're contributing on others social media
Yeah.
accounts in a positive way. I know there's lots of information, but like really trying to help others to focus, to achieve greatness in their lives, and getting this type of mindset, support, approach, and how you are using the time you have, because there's busy lives for us. In this case, on your end, you have a family, you have a business, but also you have commitments that you are working for yourself, and then you're going to become a better person at the end for your family, so, and your friends and your inner circle. So that's great. Happy to hear lots of things from you, Shaun. And it's almost time to wrap it up, but one of the last things that I would like to probably ask would be, from an overall wellness, is there something you would like to let others know from like, is there a holistic approach you take besides, I know, the physical activity, the exercise, endurance is there, but something else that has helped you throughout your lifetime to be well overall?
Yeah, no, 100%. Like recovery is a big component of it. So, for my last prep, part of the heat training was I bought a sauna, just it's a tent with like an instant pot that like just it gets hot. But getting in there and doing that, meditation, I've got actually I've moved this to the other room, but I've got one of Ryan Holiday's books, Stoic Meditation. So I go through a daily one. And sometimes I'm just reading that. Sometimes I can spend 5-10 minutes in meditating on that topic. But having those little opportunities for myself, deep breathing, I, especially when I'm frustrated or nervous or anxious, just being able to reset and take those breaths. And I think it's things that, again, I learned really, I mean, some was military, but really it was the endurance athletics of just like having these moments during those things where I can apply those, right? Because I'm sometimes out there all day, but I've even seen it in running like a 5K where, it's, hey, I'm like, 4K in and I mean, it hurts. It like, and it's way worse. I'd much rather do an ultra than a 5K. But like, being able to calm my breath, calm my thoughts, and just focus on one foot after the other. And I really think those things, again, apply to business. When like you make a proposal and the client just comes back with like, at what? No. And like being able to take a breath, but stay present, right? And refocus yourself instead of scrambling and having that anxiety come up. Like it's going to be there, that your feelings and emotions, that you don't control them, you control how you react to them. And so being able to have that in your life is just like, and that's something I learned late in life. And I'm really glad that is now in my toolkit, and I try to get better at it every day.
I love that. We can control how we react to what's happening around us, and I do practice that a lot.
Yeah.
And I think I've learned it recently too, not since day one, but it's something that I love. And thank you. The other thing that it's great what you're doing right now, you're modeling the behavior on your kids, how they will do in later in life, because we can preach so many things, but they'll really learn from our the way we act. So kudos to you. Keep it up. And a pleasure having you today, Sean. I appreciate your time.
No, it was great. Thank you so much.
Thanks.
Yeah.